If we have a sincere desire for truth, we should examine all of our opinions afresh, and research into what was their foundation, and whether they were based on just and true evidence. If they are not, we should cast off those judgments which were formed without proper examination. If any person is capable of forming and correcting his notions and rules of conduct in the natural, civil, and religious life by the strict rules of logic, and if he has time and capacity to review his old opinions and to re-examine which ones may be doubtful and which ones may be without evidence, he is likely to become so much the wiser and the happier man, and if divine grace assist him, so much the better Christian. Endeavor so that all of your ideas and judgments be clear and distinct, complete, comprehensive, extensive, and orderly, as far as you have the time and ability to judge concerning them. There are some things whose external relative properties in relation to each other, or whose relation to us, we know better than their own inward and absolute properties, or even their essential distinguishing attributes. For example, we may know the king and the governor, and infer many things about them in their legal characters, even though we might only know a little bit about their personal character. Scripture has revealed God Himself to us as our Creator, Preserver, Redeemer, and Sanctifier, and as the object of our worship. In clearer ideas than it has revealed many other remote questions which may be raised about His own divine essence, or substance, His immensity, or omnipresence. To avoid being in danger of error, we should not allow ourselves to form a judgment concerning things farther than our clear and distinct ideas reach. There are many instances where we can judge safely concerning certain ideas, even if we have a clear perception about only some of its parts or properties. For example, we can affirm that God is eternal, or that all His unknown attributes are infinite, even though we have an imperfect idea of God, eternity, and infinity. I can safely assert that every species of animal that has not yet been discovered has inward springs of motion, because I have a clear idea that these inward springs belong to an animal in general. We can know degrees of the unknown parts and properties of objects and ideas that we know are connected with or are contained in the known parts, properties, or general ideas whose knowledge is clear. In other words, what we know already about things and ideas can give us strong clues to what we don't know about. For example, imagine that there is a long iron chain laid out in front of you. One end is connected to a post near you, but the other end is so far as to be out of sight. You do not know if the chain links that are out of sight are oval or round, brass or iron, but you can safely state that the whole length of chain is connected to the post, and that the whole chain must be iron, because what you can see of it is iron. Similarly, in matters of testimony, whether human or divine, there is not always a necessity to have a clear and distinct ideas of the things which are believed. It can be possible to have a degree of an assent to an idea based on the undisputed credibility of the persons who inform us. When Scripture tells us about the deity of Christ, about the union of the divine and human natures in Jesus Christ, and that all things were created by Him and for Him, we may safely believe it because we have a clear and distinct perception of God's revealing them, and this is sufficient evidence to determine our assent. The same thing holds true where credible human testimony assures us of some proposition, even though we may not have sufficient ideas of the subject and predicate to determine our assent. For example, a student can believe a mathematician when he states that the 3 angles of a triangle are equal to 2 right angles. The student can believe that based on the credibility of the teacher.